Geneva and Alex as a couple building a business together. So I really want to know the ugly of the story. How did you overcome your fears? How did you hustle? Because it's not all rainbow, all pink, right, to build a business, and it takes a lot. It takes compromises, sacrifices, so many things to overcome to be where you are at now. And so my first question is, did you have to do any sacrifices to build this business on your couple?
Definitely.
On your life back in the Philippines.
Many sacrifices were made for us to sustain this business. Actually, like, you know, back in Manila, we used to travel all the time, wherever we wanted, wherever we wanted. I had a full-time job, we both did.
Yes.
But when we got here, like, it became a very different life. But that's the thing, like, throughout our first 3 years in Manila, we would have great conversations about, like, what do we really want to do? And so I knew for a fact that Alex was actually the dreamer between us. He wanted to do something sustainable. He wanted to be in sustainability. And then I was the one who was like, well, I just really want to do things and get it done. So when we got here and I was already freelancing, I told Alex, let's do this. And for him, he's always a guy who's like, I don't want to take that risk yet. Or how do we know we're ready?
Yeah.
But I know him. So I had to start it.
So like, he could follow.
Yes.
You always need someone first to do it and then follow them.
Yeah. And it was such a good blessing for my family to be behind me, because the starting like capital, you know, it came from my family. It came from the support of my mother and my sister. And then once we secured the place, and like, you know, as a couple, we saw that it does have so much potential. And that's when Alex like became a lot more invested. Sometimes he's there every day and I'm like, I'm still here playing with the dog, so you know.
I would echo what Jen said. And initially our move to Vietnam was a huge sacrifice for her, because she was working in advertising for about 10 years, working at multiple different agencies and having leadership roles. So as she mentioned, we had a very comfortable life in the Philippines, where we lived walking distance from work in the equivalent of District 1 of Manila. And she had her car, and we went diving every other weekend, and we traveled internationally all the time. And we decided that, you know, that was awesome. We had great experiences, but we wanted to do something more fulfilling. So her moving over here and us moving together was a big sacrifice to begin with. And part of that change was the ability for her to use her skills in a more purposeful way. So she does have awesome skills in advertising and marketing and communicating. So to be able to do that, to share the vision of the dogs and the rescue and the business versus selling another bottle of Pepsi, or selling, you know, more budget flights, which are damaging the environment because people are flying all the time. We can do something that's a little more intentional and a little more meaningful for us as well.
After enjoying this nice life and comfortable life, you wanted to do something more contributing. You wanted to contribute and to give your parts to that life.
And I think like it was a good foundation. The 3 years that we had where we had fun, that bond and understanding of each other enabled us to really like undergo the biggest challenges in the business. Like, it's because, for example, I know that I can count on him with the drinks, and then I'm the one who does English marketing, and then our other partner does the Vietnamese marketing.
So you're complementary.
And the strengths and the weaknesses, once your relationship gets to that point where you really know each other and are each other's best friend, then at the end of the day, you're able to make up for each other's weaknesses and you become a stronger unit. So sometimes like it can be trouble for some couples. We've had a lot of trouble, don't get us wrong, or sometimes shitty days, but sorry, pardon my French.
It's the time show, don't worry.
Yeah.
The news.
You know, and we have, the thing is, what I've learned from a relationship, we have to remember that there is still a romantic relationship. So we have to set aside that time consciously.
Yeah. When you're both very passionate about something and you work on it every day and you talk about it all the time, you have to create this kind of designated space or designated time where it's we always have that time for ourselves as a couple, where we can go out on a date, where the team knows that, hey, don't bother us unless it's an emergency, and that's a weekly thing, but it's also kind of like a monthly or bi-monthly thing where we want to be able to get out of town and go to Dalat or somewhere and have a weekend escape where we can refresh, but we can also look at, we'll choose some place that's very intentional. So we'll choose another place that inspires us in some way and get ideas from those business owners or from that environment and think about, what aspects do we love about this, which we might be able to also bring into our own space and our own business. And because it is the three of us who are doing this, and then Geneva and I really started initially, we have full discretion on what do we want to invest our time and our money in. So this is an opportunity for us to really pursue what's meaningful and purposeful for us versus the direction of another person or another organization.
Yeah.
And what my mom said was like really true. She said, I am so glad that you are doing business without having like big bank loans, because that's also going to be a big factor in like how nervous are you with a business. So that's why we try to work with only the money that we have and not loan, because that
That's
will
great.
transform
Yes.
your mood, right?
That's
So,
important.
yeah. So instead of taking the money that we earned and using that to go
Leisure,
traveling
yeah.
and go on nice dates and save more, we've decided to invest that in something that we feel passionate about and that's making a difference. So when Geneva moved here, when we moved here together and she quit her old job, I was still working at my same company. So I still have that full-time job, and that is maybe also one of the challenges, is having the passion and interest to continue moving things forward all the time, but also having to say, hey, from this time to this time, I have to be focused on this job because this is an integral part of our finances, and it's also something that I'm very passionate about, my other job. So to be able to do that, and then also there's opportunities to share the work that we're doing at our house in my full-time job. But finding that balance is very important for us.
And there will be times when it will be hard to separate personal from business.
Yes, that's the
It
thing.
will mix.
I can see that you have found a kind of balance between your personal life and work life. But did you have any challenge on that?
Yeah.
Did you have any struggle? I don't know if you want to share.
No, it's okay. I mean, like, it's just examples of like, for example, he's in a meeting and then he gets distracted by, oh, the beer tap needs to be fixed. It's like he literally just walks away. I'm like, and then I connect that to like, remember that time during our date when you suddenly did that again? So it melts.
Yeah, it melts.
It's an interesting mix. It's because our team we really consider them like a little family, and it's a little family that we're supporting, and that is also supporting us in our mission. We are able to share a little more intimately with them about what we may be going through, or if we need space, or whatever it may be, because we're human, we're partners, and we're also running a business together. So it is important for the team to know that, hey, if you need to talk about something, we're here. At the same time, if we need to get away and deal with something, it's not about the business, it's us personally, and we have to do that to keep the business healthy and to keep ourselves healthy. And in general, Geneva and I have a lot of things that are opposite. So we see that as contributing to the strength of the business and the operation. So for instance, I'm very pragmatic, very logical. I want to plan everything out and have it structured. And she is basically the total opposite of, I've got an idea, we have no plan, we don't know what we're doing at all, but we're going to do it right now.
You organize one and everyone.
So we find a way to meet in the middle in a lot of not only establishing the business, but running the business. And working with each other's strengths and weaknesses. So I know that I really suck at a lot of stuff, and that's usually where Jen is really, really good. And she knows that she has areas that she can work in, and that's where I can be really great and excel. And so in addition to us as a couple running the business, having JT Tin as the third party,
a mediator.
A little bit of a mediator, a little bit of a neutral party.
Yeah.
He knows us both very well, and he has the best interest of the company in mind as well, and the best interest of us as a couple in mind. So to have that is nice because it doesn't always 100% rely on us. So his contribution is really huge, and we really feel that helps to balance out the dynamic as well.
Yeah, actually I was thinking, how do you deal with a third party? Because it must be hard, but actually it can be good to have an external viewpoint when you guys don't agree on certain things, or when you're too stubborn and you don't see the other things that the local can see. You know, so that's a very good point.
To be honest, like that third party, it's more like it's saving us.
It's saving you.
Because then we're not like saying, no, you're wrong. There's someone else who can give perspective that, you know, hey, maybe it's like this. So
I mean, there's that, and then of course for him being a local and being Vietnamese and being able to communicate. I mean, all of our staff is fluent in English, but that doesn't mean that we can communicate as effectively as a local person can. So being able to have his strengths added into our mix, and his network and knowledge and talents brought in is really a huge help. And so because we've also known Dinh for so long, and in a capacity that wasn't just because of the business. It had nothing to do with us living in Vietnam. It had nothing to do with wanting to collaborate on something together. It started as a friendship. And when I was traveling here for work, I would ask him, hey, I'm going to be in Ho Chi Minh City. Do you want to hang out? And we would hang out, even though he was initially Geneva's friend. So we established that friendship over many years, and that allowed us to really jump into the business together. And because he knew us as a couple, and had visited us in the Philippines, and we had visited him here in Vietnam, it was easy for us to be able to collaborate effectively as a trio. And so although the real core of what got started was prompted by us, really the life and the next phase and the real comprehensive and wholesome ability of our house to make an impact is made through his contribution to what we've already established.
In essence, it's just really all about trust, communication, and a balancer.
Yeah.
So we worked well together, and then we found out we worked way better with a mediator. Yeah. Like, you know, I almost feel ashamed or embarrassed about how much of a therapist he's being to the balance of
Yes.
being in a
But
relationship.
it's normal, I think, because you are living together, working together, building a business together. Like, it's a lot, right? And having a third person that can help you, it can only
Yeah.
benefit you.
Yeah, because for example, when I'm annoyed at him for not making me feel like I'm the most beautiful girl in the room, then I can just ask the mediator, the third guy, our best friend, to just say, "Can you please just deal with Alex? I don't feel beautiful right now."
Yeah.
So
just send him, so it's better.
and they get along. It's a really good friendship, and it's good to be like young and agile enough to do what we're doing, where there are fears, but we have each other's support.
And when we moved to Vietnam, inherently we knew it was going to be a challenge. We were leaving a lot of comfort and stability and familiarity behind, and moving into something new and exciting, but also challenging. And then that became even more challenging when Geneva started Perfect Match, and we had an organization that we were leading. And then it became a next level with coronavirus, and another level when we have 11 dogs that we take care of, and supporting
13 now.
Yeah, 13 now, and supporting a team of 10 people, and then not knowing, what might happen. And those are the kind of things that we also have to rely on, the stability and the foundation of our relationship, and our belief in one another, and our trust in one another to, really put our all in, and to see things through even when they seem really uncertain and scary, and potentially like, when does this end, or how do we get out of this kind of situation? But because we have a business that is built on purpose and impact, we get that energy and that affirmation and that encouragement and support from the community and our customers, and also our team, who are really an exceptional group of people who share a lot of the same vision and values that we do.
Really, it's and at the end of the day, it's two factors: you and your partner, but the other thing is the support network around you too, because then that really helps bring more perspective. So sometimes I can tell our manager, like, could you please tell Alex, because he's just to support me in the idea of this, or he'll tell Tien to like talk to me about certain things, and it helps.
It helps a lot to be well surrounded and to have support, another support than your partner.
For sure. And then we've got all the dogs, which are also a very neutral source of support. So it is
so many.
There is something really special about being able to come home or to the business every day, and it doesn't matter how bad or good of a day you've had. The dogs are always excited to see you. They're acting like they haven't seen you in years, and that they're getting their first meal of their life. That's how they are every day, and that kind of gives you a different level of energy and enthusiasm to keep pushing every day. Yeah,
helps you to be positive also, right?
For sure.
We've talked about this. We have to have our North Star, and at the end of the day, like, right, during our relationship, we discuss like, how do we navigate? How do we know which choices to make? And that's just it. The North Star was that to make a difference, to support sustainability, and to change lives. And when we had that, it was easier for us to like, oh, okay, that's our North Star, so we're gonna take this, we're gonna take that.
Yes.
Yeah, and somehow weaving together the really odd set of circumstances that led us to where we are. When we think about how all the ideas for the business came together, they actually came together from the highs and the lows of our relationship. And sometimes we felt like, wow, we have an amazing new dog that we want to spend every weekend going out and taking to restaurants and taking to the park and walking around and taking pictures of all the time, and people loved it. And then we realized that the dogs were actually what made us have to leave our first apartment because our neighbors were not comfortable with that. But leaving that apartment was what led us to think about a new way to provide a safe space, to find a home that was better fitting, and is what eventually led us to find the inspiration and the location and the determination to build our house. So that was a navigation of the highs and the lows of our relationship in our first year in Vietnam to say, these things have happened, and how can we actually make something amazing out of things which were both good and bad? And without the bad, we wouldn't have been able to come up with the idea of what we have developed. So a lot of it for us is we will, of course, experience ups and downs in a relationship, in a business, and the most important thing is the North Star of looking at what are our sights set on and how are we going to get there despite any change in pace, any change in direction, any change in situation. How do we stay true to that goal?
It's like your purpose, your mission that is there, and you just need to go through some highs and lows, but you have your goal and you know where to go.
It's not just a straight, direct path with all the signs saying go this way. It's very convoluted, many ups and downs and twists and turns.
Sometimes you have to just hack through the
weeds.
Just like make your own way.
Yeah. Anyway, everything happens for a reason, so that's why now you're here. So anything that can happen, anything that can be negative, you just know that it will lead you somewhere that you are meant to be, I guess. So that's the beautiful message that we are spreading today. So thank you very much, Geneva and Alex, for sharing your stories and for being so authentic and vulnerable in this show.
Sure, thank you.
I'm very happy to know more about you, and it's really inspiring for me to see a couple working together this way that manage so well. From what I can see, this situation, because I know that it can be very hard. So thank you for inspiring us, and keep going, guys.
Thanks. We will.
Thank you. Yeah. We have no choice. We have to walk the dogs.
Okay.
Thank you guys for watching this interview. We are excited to offer you 10% discount on your full bill for all of July by saying the code word Half House to the waiters. The dogs are waiting for you and the amazing meals too. We can't wait to see you there. Bye guys.